What has been done will be done again. There is nothing under the sun.
Serious scholar of the Bible is watching nations as they rise against each other, and they are particularly watching Jerusalem, because the Bible says that Jerusalem would become a burdensome stone to all nations, and it certainly was. Thousands of years ago, the Bible prophesied that the Jews would be scattered among the nations.
Jerusalem. This ancient city lies at the very heart of the Israel-Palestinian conflict.
It's arguably the most sensitive real estate on earth. The Temple Mount, the Haram al-Sharif as it's known to Muslims, is the epicenter of the long, bitter struggle between Israelis and Palestinians.
You have to think that for Israel, Jerusalem is about 1,000 times more important than Washington, D.C. is to the United States.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
Middle East today, a Palestinian day of rage over President Trump's move to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Palestinians claim Jerusalem is their capital too.
Tonight, the violence President Trump was warned about. Protesters burning images of him after his announcement recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital.
At least 6 people were killed today in clashes between Palestinians and Israelis. 3 Israelis were stabbed to death tonight.
There were heightened tensions in Israel this weekend, just days before the opening of the new U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem.
Violence overnight in Jerusalem.
Police in Israel are blaming Palestinians for 4 violent attacks. 2 happened in Jerusalem.
Muslim anger over increasing Jewish visits to a popular mosque in Jerusalem.
While no respected biblical scholars have named the nations, they do agree that certain nations will come together against Israel in one climactic end-time battle called Armageddon.
Whether the plan for a Muslim army to move against Israel
ليست القاهرة ولا مكة ولا المدينة وإنما القدس إن شاء الله وسيكون هتافنا على القدس رايحين شهداء للملايين.
Under President Donald Trump, if the world knows nothing else, the world will know this: America stands with Israel.
We might be the ground season again.
Most groups stop here and they stop there to see how big is the valley of Armageddon. As you know, the belief is that the last war on earth will take place here.
China and Russia, 2 of the world's growing superpowers, are getting closer than ever.
The South China Morning Post looks at the growing links between Russia and China.
Chinese military official also met with the Russian general. So you have a potential alliance forming not only with China but also with Iran.
Both Russia reason to deepen their ties.
China bestowed an honorary doctorate on Russia's president last month.
China is, by any measure, our strategic partner.
Both Russia and China are permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, where they often block resolutions from Western countries, especially relating to Syria and Venezuela. Another key part of the Russian-Chinese relationship is increasing military coordination. Russian TV news recently showed joint military exercises.
America's commitment to the security of Israel is ironclad, and I might add, so is mine.
Like all Americans, I have been inspired by Israel's long struggle to survive and to flourish. America, as always, is proud to stand with you.
And you have built a mighty democracy that will endure forever. You can always count on the United States of America to be at your side.
America stands with Israel today, tomorrow, and always.
That the most important partner that Israel has always been and will always be the United States of America. The alliance between Israel and the United States is unshakable.
Israel and the United States have a special relationship.
Unprecedented.
So special that Israel gets more than half of all U.S. foreign aid. Money to Israel is given primarily to its military. Why?
The security of Israel. Preventing a nuclear Iran and ending the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
We've already got 130,000 rockets and missiles in Lebanon under the control of Hezbollah. They want to get a similar capability in southern Syria so they can rain these weapons into Israel and go beyond the Israelis' capability to defend themselves, because they'd be coming from multiple locations and they'd be swarming at Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. They want to destroy the state of Israel. It's always been a strategic objective. They say it every year.
We have direct threats from Iran saying the U.S. would never attack us. They wouldn't dare to do it because they know that our missiles are pointed not at U.S. aircraft carriers, but on Tel Aviv, on Jerusalem. Now, we have missiles going towards Israel. That's our first line of defense against attack. That's a threat.
Conflict between Iran and Israel dramatically escalated overnight.
Israel says that for the first time ever, Iran directly targeted its military positions, firing 20 missiles from bases inside Syria.
Mount Sinai, the 15th century BC. According to the Bible's book of Exodus, after the Israelites were released from Egypt, God summoned Moses to the peak of this holy mountain and gave him 2 stone tablets carved with the 10 Commandments. He also gave him specific instructions for building the Ark of the Covenant.
It was the box that was constructed to contain the 2 tablets of the 10 Commandments, which were irradiated with divine power because they had been touched by the finger of God.
The covenant itself was a contract between God and the Israelites. I will be your God and protect you, provided you keep my commandments. Israel's end of the deal then was going to be kept in the box, which is the Ark itself.
But the Ark of the Covenant didn't only carry the 10 Commandments. It was also said to be the throne of God himself.
In the book of Exodus, in the 25th chapter, the verse is very clear. God says to Moses, Asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, have them make me a holy place, and I, God, I will dwell among them. And wherever the ark went, that power of God went with them. The ark is built in a reflection of what's called a heavenly ark.